Owning a Saab in many ways is not like owning other run-of-the-mill brands. And in today's video, I'd like to discuss whether owning a Saab is right for you. Of course, at the end of the day, owning a Saab is identical to owning any other car. You still register it, you still have to pay insurance, you still have to do maintenance on it. But with Saabs no longer being made, and while they haven't been made in almost 15 years now, there are some quirks and other idiosyncrasies that go into Saab ownership and maintenance that you might not get with Honda, Toyota, even BMW, Audi, or other brands that are still made today. Now, this video is not to serve as any sort of dissuasion for any potential buyers to not buy a Saab, but I do see a lot of people in our community that buy one of these and don't understand certain aspects of the ownership. My goal is not to make Saabs appear hard to own, because at the end of the day, they really aren't. But my channel does serve as an excellent resource for a lot of the things we're going to talk about today in more detail, as well as repairs, upgrades, and other things on these cars if you own one or consider purchasing them. So there are 4 items we want to talk about today. Number 1, this is the biggest one, willingness to work on the car yourself. Number 2 is parts availability. Number 3 is reliability. And number 4 is resources for owners. In my opinion, the biggest thing that you should consider when looking at purchasing a Saab is, are you willing to work on the car yourself? Now, this does not mean that you need to be an incredibly talented mechanic, even a shade tree mechanic as they call them, and your willingness to learn can be incredibly beneficial. But these are old cars, they are no longer made. That's not to say that you are going to have problems, but when maintenance occurs or when the problem here or there does happen, it can be very expensive and sometimes inconvenient if you have to take it to a mechanic. Now, we have countless extremely valuable Saab shops that still help our community here in the United States. Most of the major cities still have at least one option, if not more. But unfortunately, if these cars do need expensive repairs, the average person might not see the value in that and might just junk the car. Whereas if you do the work yourself, you can save a lot of money. Again, our Saab shops are fantastic resources and are great. I use them myself personally from time to time. But just something to consider, that you can save yourself a lot of money if you're willing to do the work yourself. If you're not confident enough in your ability to do normal repairs or maintenance on a Saab, I would recommend avoiding your average run-of-the-mill repair shop like a Brake Masters, or I don't even know what they're called nowadays, Amco, whatever. Nothing against those companies, but they tend to, I've seen a lot of horror stories online of poor results from service from shops like that. You definitely want to take it to a Saab mechanic. And again, those don't grow on trees, but they are around. And I don't want this to dissuade someone who is not very confident in their mechanical abilities, because at the end of the day, these cars are very easy to work on. When I bought my 9.3, I didn't even know how to do an oil change. And this car has taught me so much over the years of owning it. My channel has hundreds of videos on, the 9.3, Classic 900, 9.5, even some OG 9.3. It has videos of pretty much every model on repairs or maintenance of some sort. And if I don't, a lot of other people do. There are fantastic resources out there for you to have the confidence to tackle repairs on these cars. So what is parts availability like for a car brand that is no longer made? Well, to overgeneralize it, we can use the new generation Saab 9.3's example, which is the most common Saab that's still on the road. You can get just about any part that you need. Now, I will say with one asterisk, if you have not owned a niche car brand before, you might be accustomed to either going to a dealer or going to AutoZone or O'Reilly's and being able to get any part you need same day. With Saabs, that is not the case. There are countless parts resources still available for these cars, and I actually recently did a video specifically on part sources that I'll link in the top corner for you to watch if you're more interested, but you can get just about anything you need. Now, one thing that is incredibly important outside of just parts resources is programming. So a lot of new cars, and well, even cars from this era, when you do certain things on the car, they need to be programmed by a dealer, or they need to be modified by a dealer with a special dealer tool. And while Saab is no different from that, they have a tool called the Tech 2. It seems like Tech 2s are becoming more and more popular among the casual Saab owner in our community. It is fantastic if you ever need to add a key. Let's say you need to change any module out on the car. Not all of them require Tech 2 work. It is also fantastic for diagnosing problems. I'll link a video in the top corner where I unbox the Tech 2 that I currently own. I've had it for 4 years now, and it has more than paid itself back, probably 10 times over with the amount I use it. Owning a Tech 2 is not a necessity if you do own a newer Saab, but it is a great tool to have, and if you don't have one, you should find someone near you that does have one just in case you ever need it. Before we discuss reliability, if you're enjoying this video, consider giving us a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, help me reach my goal of 100,000 subscribers, and check out my merchandise if you also want to help support the channel. But with that shameless plug out of the way, let's discuss reliability. Now, I think that there isn't as strong as a misconception out there as there used to be about the reliability of Saabs. In my experience, knock on wood, they are very reliable cars. As with any used car, I always tell people maintenance is crucial, both from yourself and from previous owners. These cars really don't require any sort of special maintenance outside of what you'd see on a normal car. Of course, though, with any car, there are some common problems. I do have videos detailing common problems on most of the major Saab models. I'll link one for the new generation Saab 9.3 in the top corner as an example. But keep in mind that most Saabs, I mean, the newest Saab now is almost 15 years old, but most Saabs are over 20 years old. So they're at that age where, regardless of the make, they are going to need some work from time to time, whether it's rubber hoses that tend to age, water pumps that start to go out, etc. What are some resources for owners if you have a problem with your car, you have questions, you want to do some upgrades? Where can you look for information on that? Well, there are thankfully a ton of fantastic resources for Saab, my channel being one of them. There's also another fantastic tool called Saab WIS online, W-I-S. That is essentially the Saab factory workshop manuals that have been digitized and put online. So if you need to learn how to replace a water pump, well, first off, you can watch my video on it, but you can also go on there and it'll give you step-by-step instructions with photos on how to do jobs like that. Forums, as with any car brand, are critical as well. There's a lot of great information on Saab Central and some other Saab forums, but I think personally the most critical and useful piece of information and resource that Saab owners should use are the Saab Facebook groups. There are countless Saab Facebook groups. I use Facebook essentially entirely just for car-related things, but you can always ask questions. There's a ton of active groups, and the community is so just incredibly supportive. There you have it. In the last few minutes, I have given you a high-level overview of what you should look at if you're considering buying a Saab. Generally speaking, people who own these cars absolutely fall in love with them. I've owned them for my entire adult life and absolutely love them. I don't have any plans on ever not having a Saab in my collection, and they are just fantastic cars, incredibly unique, fun to drive, decently quick, decently reliable. I think they package everything together very well, and they're pretty good at just about everything. If you're a current owner and have any suggestions for potential buyers down below in the comments, please leave them, help people decide. Again, this video is not intended to dissuade anyone from looking at a Saab, but part of it is just a reality check of there are certain things about Saab ownership versus the average car brand that are a bit different, and hopefully this video has enlightened you on that. But that's all for today. Again, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you in the next one.